Before you even think about placing a deposit on the 2026-27 GMC HUMMER SUV, before you let the aggressive design and outrageous horsepower numbers convince you that this is the ultimate electric beast, you need to stop for a moment and understand what you are really buying, because this is not just another EV SUV entering the market. This is a statement machine that challenges logic, physics, efficiency, and even practicality in ways that most buyers do not fully consider until it is too late. There are electric SUVs that promise sustainability, there are luxury SUVs that promise comfort, and then there is the Hummer SUV, which promises dominance in a way that almost feels rebellious against the entire EV movement. And that is exactly why today's breakdown matters more than ever, because hype is easy to sell, but long-term ownership reality is something very few channels truly discuss honestly. Welcome back to Aussie Rev, the place where we do not just read spec sheets and repeat marketing lines, but instead dive deep into performance data, ownership costs, competitor positioning, real-world usability, and the emotional experience of living with vehicles that cost as much as small homes in some cities. And if you appreciate reviews that help you make smarter decisions rather than impulse purchases, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we are analyzing the next-generation 2026-27 GMC HUMMER SUV, an electric super SUV built on GM's advanced Ultium platform, expected to push range, power delivery, suspension refinement, software intelligence, and off-road technology even further than the already outrageous current model. And by the end of this video, you will clearly understand whether this machine is a smart buy, a lifestyle indulgence, or simply an overpowered showpiece for those who want maximum presence. The next-generation Hummer SUV is expected to continue evolving GM's Ultium battery architecture, but with improved energy density that could increase real-world range closer to the 350 to 400-mile mark, depending on configuration, driving style, terrain conditions, and tire setup, which would be a noticeable step forward compared to current real-world range figures that fluctuate significantly when equipped with aggressive off-road rubber. Thermal management improvements are also likely to play a major role in this evolution because heavy electric SUVs generate substantial heat under load, especially during rapid acceleration runs or off-road crawling sessions, and better cooling efficiency means more consistent performance output without early power tapering that sometimes affects high-output EVs after repeated hard launches. Software integration will likely become smarter and more seamless as GM continues refining over-the-air update capabilities, meaning that features, drive modes, efficiency optimization, and even suspension calibration logic could receive refinements long after purchase, essentially allowing the vehicle to improve gradually without requiring dealership visits for every enhancement. But raw numbers only tell part of the story, because the real identity of the Hummer EV SUV has always been extreme performance, packaged in something that visually resembles a futuristic armored transport vehicle rather than a traditional family crossover. And that bold identity is unlikely to soften in the upcoming generation. Let us talk performance, because this is where the Hummer EV SUV shocks almost everyone who sees it move for the first time, as the outgoing model already produces around 830 horsepower in its highest configuration, while accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in roughly 3.5 seconds, despite weighing well over 9,000 pounds, which completely redefines what people expect from a vehicle of this mass and size. The 2026-27 version is rumored to improve motor efficiency, torque vectoring precision, and throttle mapping calibration, which could potentially sharpen acceleration response even further, while delivering smoother power modulation during technical off-road maneuvers, where instant torque must be carefully controlled rather than unleashed aggressively. What makes this even more fascinating is not just straight-line speed, but how the vehicle manages to distribute power intelligently across four wheels using advanced electronic controls that constantly adjust torque distribution in milliseconds, giving the impression of surprising agility despite dimensions that make most urban parking spaces feel undersized. However, performance in isolation means very little if ride quality and daily comfort suffer, and this is one area where GM is widely expected to focus serious refinement because the current Hummer, while impressive, has been criticized for feeling heavy and slightly cumbersome during tight urban driving scenarios. Suspension tuning improvements, recalibrated air ride systems, and potentially lighter battery packaging could help the next-generation Hummer EV SUV feel more controlled and less truck-like in everyday commuting situations, especially during low-speed city maneuvers where weight transfer and body motion are more noticeable to drivers. Air suspension technology is expected to continue offering extract mode for extreme ground clearance when off-roading, but smoother damping transitions between comfort and sport settings could make the vehicle feel more premium and less industrial during highway cruising, which is critical for buyers spending six figures. Urban refinement is not just about suspension. It is about steering weight, regenerative braking smoothness, pedal calibration, and noise insulation. And these are the subtle areas where GM has the opportunity to transform the Hummer from an impressive spectacle into a genuinely luxurious daily machine. Because at this price level, buyers are not just paying for shock value. They're paying for a complete experience that must balance brutality with comfort, aggression with elegance, and technological innovation with usability. Technology will almost certainly be a central highlight of the 2026-27 Hummer SUV, especially with further development of GM's Super Cruise system, which already ranks among the more advanced hands-free driving assistance systems currently available in North America. Expanded mapped road coverage, smoother automatic lane changes, enhanced trailer integration for those towing recreational equipment, and more advanced object detection algorithms are all likely upgrades that could make long-distance highway driving significantly less stressful for owners. The infotainment system is also expected to receive faster processors, higher resolution displays, improved voice recognition capabilities, and deeper smartphone integration, ensuring that the Hummer feels modern not just in powertrain, but in digital interaction as well. And with over-the-air update capability continuing to expand, this SUV may evolve post-purchase in ways that traditional internal combustion luxury SUVs simply cannot match without hardware replacement. Now we must address pricing, because this is where many potential buyers hesitate, as the current Hummer SUV already spans from the upper $80,000 range to well beyond $110,000, depending on configuration, and the 2026-27 generation is widely expected to start closer to $90,000, while easily climbing toward $120,000 or more when fully equipped. When placed next to rivals such as the Rivian R1S, Tesla Model X Plaid, and Cadillac Escalade IQ, the Hummer SUV will likely position itself in a unique middle ground, offering more extreme off-road hardware than Tesla, while presenting a more aggressive personality than the Escalade IQ, yet costing significantly more than base Rivian trims. But purchase price is only the beginning of ownership cost, because insurance premiums for a vehicle of this value, weight, and performance capability are almost guaranteed to be high, particularly in metropolitan regions where repair costs and parts pricing influence coverage rates. And then there are tire replacements, which are not minor expenses on a vehicle equipped with massive off-road-focused wheels that can cost thousands of dollars per full set, especially if driven aggressively or frequently off pavement. Electric ownership does eliminate fuel expenses compared to a gasoline V8 SUV, which can represent substantial savings over time, especially for drivers covering high annual mileage. But electricity costs vary by region, and fast charging rates can be significantly higher than home charging rates. Maintenance overall is expected to be lower than traditional internal combustion SUVs due to fewer moving components, absence of oil changes, and regenerative braking reducing brake wear. Yet that does not make the Hummer inexpensive to maintain, because specialized parts and advanced electronics always carry premium repair pricing. Depreciation is another factor to consider carefully, as EVs historically experience steeper early depreciation than comparable gasoline luxury SUVs, although limited production and highly distinctive models sometimes retain value better due to strong enthusiast demand. The real question becomes whether buyers are comfortable accepting potential resale uncertainty in exchange for owning one of the boldest electric SUVs ever produced. This is where philosophy enters the conversation, because the Hummer SUV is not primarily about efficiency, minimalism, or eco-forward messaging. It is about presence, scale, mechanical aggression translated into electric form, and a rebellious refusal to shrink in a market increasingly obsessed with aerodynamic efficiency and subtle styling. Where Rivian emphasizes adventure and sustainability, and Tesla focuses on minimalist performance engineering, the Hummer EV embraces visual dominance and unapologetic mass, almost as if it exists to challenge the idea that EVs must be quiet in both sound and personality. And that distinct identity is either exactly what you want or exactly what you should avoid, because vehicles like this rarely sit in the middle ground of public opinion. If you are searching for the most efficient family electric SUV with maximum cargo optimization and minimal operating cost, the Hummer is likely not your ideal match. But if you are searching for a machine that turns every arrival into an event and combines sci-fi design with serious off-road hardware, few alternatives deliver that same dramatic impact. Personally, I would consider the Hummer SUV as a secondary lifestyle vehicle rather than a sole daily commuter, because while it excels at road trips, off-road exploration, and making statements, it may feel oversized for tight urban environments or compact parking garages. But again, vehicles like this are not purchased purely for logic. They're purchased for emotion, for presence, for that feeling of commanding something that stands apart from conventional design trends. If you're enjoying this deep breakdown and want more honest, hype-free analysis of upcoming vehicles that cost serious money and deserve serious evaluation, make sure you subscribe to Aussie Rev, because we are only getting started with what the 2026-27 GMC HUMMER EV represents in the evolving electric performance SUV landscape. And in the next section of this full deep dive, we are going to analyze long-term reliability expectations, charging infrastructure realities, competitor head-to-head driving dynamics, and whether this electric giant truly justifies its growing price tag in a rapidly expanding high-performance EV market.